Very good afternoon, everybody. Today is the first day of semester 1 students' presentations. And this is the afternoon session, second slot for the first day. And today we will have presentations by these students. Let me share a screen with everybody to see the names of the students and their topics. Okay, so we'll have first presentation by ASHA. And that will be on prostitute culture in Aphra Behn's Rover. So when you type the title of the text, it should be written in single inverted comma and full title. If in the title the is written, then you have to write the. If it is not written, you should not write it. Like in Macbeth, you will not find it. The Rover will be the proper title. So that correction, prostitute culture in Aphra Behn's The Rover should be in single inverted comma. Divya's presentation on characteristics of metaphysical poetry. In the title or in the topic, all keywords should be capitalized. So M should be capital for metaphysical and P for poetry should be capitalized. Jatin will make a presentation on Macbeth on screen. So you are talking here about Macbeth as a play, not Macbeth as a character. If you write Macbeth without inverted comma, it means you are talking about the character Macbeth. If you want to talk about tragedy, that is Macbeth, or a book, that is Macbeth, then you have to write it in single inverted comma. And on screen, in O, in on can be small. It is a connecting word, so no need to make it capital. But screen should be capital S. SOLANKI's presentation on Elysian, embrace, Platonic love and ecstasy in metaphysical poetry. You need to add the word metaphysical before poetry. The other things are quite okay. All other things like colon is very appropriately put after embrace. Without any space, you have to put a colon and then you have to give a space before you start a new word. MARUNIYA's presentation on The Rover as a restoration comedy. So you have put a colon at a wrong place. After Rover, no space and colon. And because you are making it colon, the Rover is different. So in case you don't put it in single inverted comma, then also it is okay. It is understandable. If it is a part of a statement, then it should be in single inverted comma. As a restoration comedy, as is beginning the new statement after colon, so A should be capital. Otherwise, S can be small a, but you are beginning something, so as A capital, a restoration comedy, comedy C capital. JAYSHRI's presentation will be on manipulation in Macbeth. So I think again you are talking about Macbeth, the play, so it should be in single inverted comma. Krishna's presentation on the title of the play, The Rover. The Rover should be in single inverted comma, title capital T, play capital P. Of and the can be small o and T, but other should be capitalized. KUSUM's presentation on the themes of metaphysical poetry. Poetry P should be capital. Maya's presentation on The Rover, colon, then space. Here it is space and then colon. You need to remove the space before colon. Theme of deceit and disguise, that is quite well written. Shivangee's on time of historical Macbeth in Scotland. So you need to work on the title. Capitalization also is a problem. Only Scotland is capitalized. All other words are small alphabet. So that all needs to be capitalized. I think you want to talk about the history of real Macbeth. So you need to rethink of this title also. Vishwa on Lady Macbeth, feminist reading. Again, capitalism is a problem. None of the words are capitalized. Lady, capital L, Macbeth, capital M, feminist reading, capital F, capital R. HEMALI on the weight of guilt in Shakespeare's Macbeth. That is quite well written title. Only Macbeth needs to be in single inverted comma that you have to do. So when will you edit this? When you put the timestamp. when you will type timestamp in this column of timestamp, at that time you will make all these additions. If you want to do right now, you can start doing also the suggestions that are given to you. I hope you might have noted down the suggestions, that what suggestion you change you have to make, so that tomorrow I don't have to give a reminder that you have not corrected as suggestions are given. And then in tomorrow's title, there should be no such mistake. Same mistake should not be repeated. If you make a new mistake, it is welcome. If you make new mistake, it is welcome. But the same mistake, if you make, then it is not welcome. So you have to see that the same things are not repeated, but new mistakes you can keep on making. So we keep on learning from our mistakes. Okay, so let us start with the first presentation of the day. Yes, so who will come? Asha. Yes, you can start. So who will keep the time? Whose turn is last? At fourth minute, you have to give a. So this is the first semester, so this all errors are pardonable. This first day, first semester, but subsequently, if you'll keep on making the mistakes, then it will not be pardonable. So that you don't make mistakes, we have done series of workshops, so that this all things were taught to you, but maybe you were not present. All of you were not present, so may not be aware. Otherwise, we had a full day workshop on all this thing, that how you have to work on this.
So, good afternoon, everyone. I am dealing with the topic prostitute culture in Aphra Behn's Rover. This is my personal information. It's my key points: introduction of the rover, characters, themes, prostitute culture in society of that time, and prostitute culture in the play. So first, introduction of the rover. The second name and subtitle name is The Danish Cavalier. It was written by English author Aphra Behn, and it is a revision of Thomas Killigrew's play Thomso or the Wanderer, dealing with adventure of a group of Englishmen and women in Naples at carnival time. It was published in 24 March 1677, and the genre of the play is restoration comedy. Then characters and theme. First, group of sisters. We can see in play Rover two sisters, Florinda and Helena and his cousin is Valeria. Then group of named Don Pedro, who is a brother of Helena and Florinda. Then Don Antonio, who is a friend of Don Pedro, and Don Vincent. Group of Cavalier, Blunt, Frederick, and Belleville. And the rover. So the rover we can find in the play. Rover is a Wilmot. Then prostitute. There are two prostitute named Lucetta and Angelica. Then themes. We are uh, first love versus lust, marriage, sexual desire, loyalty, class, and money. So first love in love we can find in two characters, Belleville and Florinda, versus lust, Lucetta, and marriage. So Don Pedro want to marry with his marry with his sister. Florinda to his friend Don Antonio. Then sexual desire. Angelica is a well-known prostitute. Then loyalty in Belleville and Florinda, and class and money. Then prostitute culture in society. So first, effect of the society reflect in literature. The example, if that time writing about French Revolution, so many poet are written in about war poetry. So and if corona time during, so we are faced a lot about fearing of a disease. Then Aphra as inspiration for women. Works talk about women. That time Aphra very Aphra very wrote his work at that time. Then beauty is an important feature for women. So if beauty is very important in features for women, because we are not accept ugly women. And then people pursue women for enjoyment, for her own desire. Then prostitute culture in the rover. So in the rover we can find Angelica, who is a well-known prostitute in the play, and who can attract anyone person at first sight. Then Lucetta, restriction for royal families women. Then marriage or prostitute, and prostitution as a lower work. So this is my resources, and thank you. Now I am open for question.
At that time, when Aphra wrote this for marriage and money, so which features were strong, money or marriage?
So according to me, money was very strong, because Don Pedro wants to marry with Angelica, but he also want to marry his sister, rich person, who is Don Antonio. So money is strong.
At that time, when Aphra wrote this for marriage and money, so which features were strong, money or marriage?
Please repeat question.
At that time, when Aphra wrote this for marriage and money, so which features were strong, money or marriage?
Money was strong feature at that time.
I think both of your question is very common. Word by word. You can try.
Divya.
Possible.
You can ask Divya.
તમારા બંનેનો પ્રશ્ન સાવ સરખો કેમ છે? It was copied from any other similar source? Question?
Divya.
Exactly, it is similar. If you see this question, this and at what time when Aphra brought this for marriage and which features were strong? At that time, Aphra got this for marriage and money. So which features were strong? Money or marriage? So
Divya.
how is it? What is the secret for this? हेमाली और विश्वा આવું તો ક્યારેય ન થાય આવું ચેટ જીપીટી પર ન થાય એક જ સરખી ભાષામાં એ જવાબ ના આપી શકે મનુષ્ય તો ક્યારેય ન કરી શકે આપણે પોતે જ થોડી વાર પછી પૂછીએ તો પણ શબ્દો બદલાઈ જાય શબ્દો એની એ જ જગ્યા એ જ રીતે તો ક્યારેય ન થાય સિવાય કે કોઈ એક સોર્સમાંથી કોપી પેસ્ટ કર્યું હોય યસ વોટ ઇઝ ધેટ What is the reason? Hemali? Yes, Vishwa? કારણ શું આવું થવાનું તમને ખ્યાલ આવે this is new for me also એટલા વર્ષોમાં આવું ક્યારેય નથી થયું કે સાવ સામ જુદા બાજુમાં બેઠા હોય તો હજી સરખું થાય સાવ દૂર બેઠા હો સામ સામે એના સરખો જ એકદમ એક્ઝેક્ટ પ્રશ્ન આવે.
Can I sit, sir?
હા, yes.
Thank you.
Who is next? Keep on coming according to your schedule. DIVYA, then JATIN, Jay, that sequence you have to follow.
Very good afternoon to everyone. Myself DIVYA, respected sir and dear friends. The first day of our presentation, and today's my topic is characteristic of metaphysical poetry, and this is my personal information. These are the table of contents which I discussed today. What is metaphysical poetry? Definition of metaphysical poetry, metaphysical poets, metaphysical poetries, and the last characteristic of metaphysical poetry and conclusion. So now we first discuss what is the metaphysical poetry. A group of poets emerged in the beginning of 17th century. Comes to known as the metaphysical poetry. The literary meaning of metaphysical poetry, meta means beyond and physics means physical nature. The word metaphysical first time used by the Samuel Johnson in his book, The Lives of Most Eminent English Poet. And the definition of metaphysical poetry, according to Merriam-Webster, highly intellectualized poetry marked by bold and ingenious conceit, incongruous imagery, complexity and subtlety of thoughts, and frequent use of paradox, and often by deliberate harshness of rigidity and expression. And these are the famous example of metaphysical poets: John Donne, Andrew Marvell, George Herbert, Henry Vaughan, Abraham Cowley, Richard Kershaw, Richard Lee, Edward Benlows, and John Cleveland. These are the famous example of metaphysical poetry. To His Co-Mistress by Andrew Marvell, The Sun Rising by John Donne, The Caller by George Herbert, The Flea by Donne, and Death Be Not Proud by Donne, The Dream by Donne. Now we discuss the characteristic of metaphysical poetry. Metaphysical poetry. Wit is the expression of one's idea or thoughts that using technically in John Donne's who known as the monarch of the wit. And the second one is planetic love. What is the planetic love? Planetic love means spiritual love, which is free from elements of physical love. It's called the planetic love. And the fourth one is intellectuality. This is the most important characteristic of metaphysical poetry. We find that metaphysical poetry is considered highly intellect and knowledge due to the metaphysical poet. And this poetry is greatly challenging due to understand the first reading. And the fourth one, the important one, is metaphysical conceit. It is a significant feature of the metaphysical poetry. And the conceit is the meaning of conceit means the comparison of two dissimilar things which may have little common. And the best example is the metaphysical conceit is the Abraham Cowley's poem, the Co-Mistress. In this, he was compares his love for the ladies to his habit of the traveling. And the last one is literary devices, and this is a important characteristic of metaphysical poetry. And the metaphysical poetry use the literary devices like metaphors, meters, puns, and paradox to create a drama and tension. And the conclusion, metaphysical poetry is not intended to be read in a passive way. It is use of paradox, imagery, conceit, and wit. It means to awaken the reader. Metaphysical poetry asks a philosophical question about the religion, faith, and spirituality, and to being. Now I'm end here. Thank you very much, everyone.
So, Divya, who was used the word metaphysical first time in which?
The word metaphysical first time used by Samuel Johnson in his book The Lives of Eminent English Poets.
Which kind of literary device is used in metaphysical poetry?
The literary devices like paradox, puns, meters used in the metaphysical poetry. So now I'm end here.
Camera seems to be disconnected. So we'll remove the USB of camera and we'll
It's visible, sir.
camera settings, still your camera. Start camera and see. At the bottom you will find camera.
Yes. It's visible.
Settings. Click on the window,
Okay.
select song.
Okay.
Okay. What is next? open with Google Slides.
So hello everyone, myself JATIN VARU. Today I'm dealing with Macbeth on screen. Here my personal information. This is contents about writer. It means William Shakespeare. About play, Macbeth on stage and Macbeth on screen. About William Shakespeare, we cannot find out some particular dates according to his born, but mostly 23 April 1564, Starford, England. His father name was John Shakespeare. He took his education from King's New School, Starford. William married with Anne Hathaway in 1582. During 1590 to 1631, Shakespeare wrote a list of 39 plays, collaborated on several more. 16 comedies include Merchant of Venice and Much Ado About Nothing. 11 historical plays like Henry V and Richard III. 20 tragedies. The most famous are Hamlet, Othello, King Lear, and Macbeth. He wrote also 4 poems and a collection of sonnets. He died on 23 April 1660. About Macbeth as a play. Full title: The Tragedy of Macbeth. Author William Shakespeare. In this Macbeth, we find out a main character as a Macbeth. Its setting is mostly on Scotland and England. Genre is tragedy. Date of published 1623 in first Philo of edition. Play divided in 5 acts. We can find out some major character like a Macbeth, Lady Macbeth, Banquo, and his son, and Macduff, Macbeth on stage. As an eyewitness account by Dr. Simon Forman, dates of first public perform of Macbeth at the outdoor of Global Theatre in April 1611. But it was mostly like performed at a court before King James in December 1606. As per my knowledge, Macbeth was written by William Shakespeare for a tribute for James I. Macbeth on screen. Here are some famous adaptations from Macbeth. The first one is Joy Macbeth. It was published in 1995. Director Ken Hughes. Paul and some star cast is Paul Douglas, Ruth Roman, Bon Kellon. Thrones of Bird. In Japan, it was directed by Kiria Kurosawa. Its star cast is Toshiro Mifune, Isuzu Yamada, Takashi Shimaru. And third one is Sengdor, 2003, is in Venezuela. Directed by Leonor Enriquez, Daniel. Its star cast is Karina Gomez and Daniel Alvarado. Macbeth in Indian cinema. Macbull. Macbull is a very famous for his storyline. Macbull, 2004. Sorry. Language Hindi, directed by Vishal Bharadwaj, star cast Irfan Khan, Tabu, and Om Puri. The second one is in Malayalam language, directed by Jayraj, star cast is Kunal Kapoor, Shivajit, and Padmanabhan. The third one is in Bengali language. It was a series, directed by Anirban Bhattacharya, star cast is Sohin Sarkar, Debesh Roy, and Debashi Mondal. Why the play had to be adopted into the film? Wider audience. Movie can reach a much larger audience than live theater, making the story accessible to more people. We can identify some criteria like criteria for a theater, like very limited audience to watch live performance. But in the movie provide us a larger screen for screening. Visual storyline. Film can use visual location and special effect to image the story way that a play can. In the play, we can imagine lots of image like a battleground and court. But in a cinema, he can easily provide us a virtual images. Time and space. Movie can explore different times and place more easily than a stage production and global reach. Movie can be easily translated a shared world while breaking a language barriers. Conclusion. In a conclusion, Macbeth's adaptation to the screen has been a testament to the enduring power of Shakespeare's tragic masterpiece. Over the year, various directors and actors have brought their unique interpretation to the play, allowing into the distortion with a new generation. From classical edition to modern adaptation, Macbeth on screen continues to captive audience with its timeless themes of ambition, power, and consequence of unchecked desire. The enduring popularity of Macbeth in cinemas underscore the play ability of remain relevant and compelling, making it a cornerstone of both theatrical and cinematic history. Here are my some references, and thank you for your attention.
So, Jatin, which is the best adaptation of Macbeth according to you?
According me, Macbeth in 2015, which was directed by Justin Kills, it was a great, and in the Indian cinema, Macbeth is a very popular.
So Jatin, what is the symbol of supernatural element in the play?
We can identify some supernatural element like three wishes and a Banko's ghost on a party table.
Hello everyone, good afternoon to all of you. My name is SOLANKI and today I am going to present paper number 1 from LCS Embrace Platonic Love and Ecstasy in Poetry. So this is my personal information. Now we can start our presentation with content. So first I will talk about John Donne and then Platonic love, then ecstasy in poetry, and after that we can come to the conclusion. So first we will let me talk about John Donne. So John Donne is born in London, England. So between January 24 and June 1572. So here we can find out the first thing that that the other who can uh, like know about the John Donne. They don't know about which date is the correct one in his born. So second thing is the leading poet of metaphysical schools, and he is the one of the great love poet in English language also. So he is known for his religious poetry and physical treatises. His sermons are considered some of the best of the 17th century. So, if we find out that he born in 1572, so here in 17th century, he also conclude very like we can say he also contributes in his poetry also. And in the last that he died in March 31, 1631 in London. Now let's talk about ecstasy in poetry. The first thing is ecstasy is John Donne's poetry that he has been subject contrasting in interpretation, with some viewing in spiritual poem about the Platonic and Christian love, Platonic or Christian love, and other as example of dance dramatic and rhetorical style. So here first thing is that Platonic or Christian love that is in his poetry. This his most of the poetry are from love side. So here in this poetry there are two lovers are there, and the two lovers in John Donne is trying to in way we can say in Christianity is showing the love affection in this ecstasy. The second point is the conflict impression the poem creates may be due to an incoherent philosophy of love present in the poem. As I said that John Donne is in this poetry is talking about the lovers that is Merlin Christian in love. So right now in philosophy of the love he is present in this poem. The second half of the poem has been criticized for being poetic anticlimax, and some suggest it might have been composed separately from the first part. So there in the second half we can see that in his is there other art is criticized that poetic anti-climax. And John Donne also if I say that John Donne's writing in love poetry, so some of the poets are also not that much in favor of like John Donne that is writing on like most of the poetry in love side. So in if we see here that how much this poem is criticized, unlike many of Donne other works, the Anxieties is more narrative, meditative, addressing a man and woman in composite we rather than directly addressing a specific person. So here we are when I talk about the lovers. So he here in the poem he he specific word with we, but is not just we of like two person or three person. There's only one person are there in the specific poem. The poem feature in hypothetical lover, maintaining a certain distance similar to John Donne's other poem, The Undertaking. So there are also other poem of him that Undertaking is also like in we can say is a love poetry. Now we will talk about Platonic love. So why I take this Platonic love? Because I want to connect this Platonic love with ecstasy poetry. So first thing is the problem of eros in Platonic research. The second is the homosexual eros, the Platonic's attitude to women in Philebus and Timus, pedestry in Greek, the Dorian civilization, and Platon's climb to domination in a republic. So this Platonic love also, if we found out the as Divya mentioned in his PPT presentation, that Platonic, what is a Platonic love? So we can connect this Platonic love with this poem Ecstasy. Now I come to the conclusion. As a conclusion is as I say that the poem Ecstasy and the Platonic love very connected with each other. So John Donne also allocates the contrasting interpretation with some seeing spiritual expression of love and other example of Donne rhetorical style. As I say that love, he is writing on love poem. So right now he is also example of the rhetorical style. Other is also work are also there in the John Donne's, but he also addressed, as I say, the we of this only one specific person. The pentatonic love also we can see the compilation or are centered in a poem of the theme of like we can say planetary, as I said that Divya also mentioned in his presentation about the planetary love, that how the spiritual love is not connected with the physical laws. So there is that. So now this is my reference, and thank you everyone for listening.
Jai, how does the SAT address the theme of love and the hypothetical love in the poem?
So as I when I talk about John Donne is also, as I say that Ecstasy is writing in the poem is a love poem, but as also we can see that the Ecstasy poem is theme of love is if we see the theme of love is not in the, too much in this poem, because some of the, as I say, some of the criticize this poem also. So that is the answer of this question.
Divya, last question. You put your question. But you have to do that earlier. Question is not there. First, we have to display the question. Then
So, Jay, my question is that.
first let the question get displayed on the screen. Have you posted the question?
મૂક્યો છે યુટ્યુબમાં કોમેન્ટમાં એમાં મૂકી દે.
You can borrow internet from anybody's screen nearby. Namo Wi-Fi is there. Any problem? Then you can ask anybody to start hotspot for a while.
So, like, I need to
So that is why we tell you to do it in advance. No? Now you can find when your turn comes. You do it, everything be ready in advance.
So, Jay, my question is that how does the poem Escape that is different from
The question should get displayed on the screen, then you have to read from there. તમારો પ્રશ્ન સામે દેખાવો જોઈએ પછી વાંચવા. So you're not posted from your account, KUSUM. So today it is allowed, but tomorrow it should work. Because somebody else's name will come, photo will come. It will not look, see on the screen, it is not, doesn't say that is your question. Okay, ask now.
my question is that how does the poem different from many words of dance in the term of style?
So if we see in the style, as the first we mentioned the theme of the love. So in the ecstasy we can also I talk about the again and again that how other are criticized in this poem. So this poem is must be something the people are not happy with it, or something is like in this poem that the people is not understanding, or something in the term of styles that how much that John Donne is using his style to understand, or saying to a person that is not visible to anyone, or as I say that term of style in he is only using like a metaphysical style in his poetry of love and other thing also. So that is my answer. Okay, thank you.
Close all other windows, so the system is not heavily loaded.
Okay.
Unnecessary windows.
Hello, good afternoon all. Today my topic is The Rover as a restoration comedy. This is my personal information. Table of content. First, The Rover. What is restoration comedy? Characteristic of Characteristic of restoration comedy: social and political satire compared to other restoration comedy, and then conclusion, then citation. The Rover. The Rover is a comedy in two parts. Subtitle: The Banished Cavalier. Part 1 is Rover, published in 6077, and Part 2 published in 6081. The play follows English Cavalier as they travel through Madrid and Naples, falling in the out of love as they go along. Aphra Behn. Aphra Behn was the only obscure and improved woman to write for the breed. She was the first British woman to earn a living from writing. He most celebrated play, The Rover, is classical restoration comedy based on earlier work on Thomaso by Thomas Killigrew, written in 1645. 55, but was not published until 10 years later. The Rover deals with romantic interview of Englishmen and Spanish women in Naples over a carnival weekend. It is said during the interview. Background of Restoration comedy. The Restoration comedy is an English comedy performed in the Restoration period. It started developing after public stage was banned for 18 years. When King Charles II became the King of England, he brought the ideas of the French with him, allowed two patent for theatre, the King Company, and second was the Duke Company. What is a restoration comedy? The restoration comedy is also called the comedy of manners. It depicts life's manners, habits of upper class society with their vice, integrity, and behavior. It reflects the very spirit of the age. It deals with the behavior of men and women living under special social code. Rover shows relationship along with the integrity of men, women belonging the sophisticated society. Characteristic of restoration comedy. First, witty dialogue, satire, complex plot, sexual content, social commentary, and comedic tone. First, witty dialogue. Witty and incisive dialogue is also key to restoration comedy. This added the mocking tone than many restoration comedy had. Example, the play is full of witty dialogue, especially by Helena. In Act 1, Scene 2, we find Helena and Wilmore flirting with each other. Satire. The majority of restoration comedy were satirical. Playwrights typically used the humor of the genre mock of different aspects of society. There was a level of absurdity in restoration comedy that allowed them to poke fun at a different societal condition and social class. Complex plot. Many restoration comedy had quite a complicated story, then often had many characters with intertwined relationship and overlapping interests. Sexual contest. Sexual innuendos and promiscuity feature of prominently in restoration comedy. This mark a sharp break with the norms of Puritan society that Oliver Cromwell enforced upon England years previous. Social commentary. Social commentary, another characteristic of restoration comedy, comedic tone. As shown, genre's title, comedy is central to this play. This typically had a light of comedy tone. Restoration comedy were designed to make audience laugh, give them the sense of enjoyment. Social and political satire. The Rover is play written by Aphra Behn in 17th century and its known satirical element of critiquing various social and political aspects of era, gender and moral. This play satire Aphra Behn main focus on woman, female virtue, submission, portraying women and who are witty, assertive, and independent. Political instability. The Rover is the set Nepal during in 50th century when the city was expressing political turmoil. Then satire the instability through Catholic event play highlighting the fickle nature of political power and wins those authority, class and social hierarchy. The play is a main focus on lower class, critique and marriage. The mainly writing satire in critique of marriage. Comparison to other restoration comedy. Other notable restoration comedy. She Stooped the Conquer by Orwell Goldsmith. Similarity. Both the Rover and She Stooped Conquer contain element of mistaken identity and romantic element of leading to comedic misunderstanding. Difference. The Rover is set in war-torn Naples, has a more dramatic and adventurous tone, while She Stooped Conquer is more straightforward comedy set in the English countryside. Conclusion. The play has almost characteristic of restoration comedy. It is the one of the best restoration comedy ever written. The play use of witty dialogue and sex battering cheap human violate social conversation. H.R. Lam conclude, restoration comedy are a world of themselves almost as much as fairyland. Citation. Thank you. Now ready for question.
So, Jay, justify the rover as a restoration comedy.
The Aphra rover is mainly the rover in characteristic of political and social satire and main themes love romance and social aspect shown in the rover by Aphra. This is characteristic and themes are almost common in restoration comedy and the rover. This is justified the rover is a restoration comedy.
So, Jai, what was happening in Naples during that times?
Is Naples during in the rover we can see the start carnival. The men and women we each other we each other in we each other drunk and some drunk and cloth. Naples during in carnival, there's men and women are commonly carnivals. And thank you.
You have one question, I think, from online viewer, Nirav Jani. So check the question and reply in the chat. Type your answer and reply.
Best enemy.
Yes, next.
Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, JAYSHRI KHACHAR. Today, I am going to give my presentation on manipulation in Macbeth. So, this is my personal information. This is the table of the content. I am going to start with the first definition of manipulation. Manipulation is the effort to affect the behavior or perception of others via the use of abusive, deceptive, or otherwise explorative means or something similar. In simple words, operating or controlling over someone's life and their opinion by using words. For example, we are manipulators from our childhood, and we are also getting manipulated by our parents from the childhood. Like our parents tell us that don't do that thing. If you will do that, then this will happen. Then we stop that thing doing. So that is called manipulation. So now I'm going to say that manipulation in Macbeth, that where we can find that manipulation is in the Macbeth play. The witches' prophecies. These prophecies work as a manipulation. We know that Macbeth was ambitious, but he has know that that was like his forbidden desire to him to be a king. So the witches' prophecies work as a manipulation to him to be a king. Then Lady Macbeth's influence. Lady Macbeth influenced him to kill King Duncan by saying that, by questioning his masculinity. Then murder of King Duncan. That also this is the influence of the witches and also the Lady Macbeth. That how they are influencing to murder King Duncan. Then framing Malcolm and Donald Behn for King Duncan's murder. So after they are telling that after killing King Duncan, they frame King Duncan's own son, Donald Behn and Malcolm. Murder of Banquo. That is also because of the witches' prophecies. He killed Banquo and his son, but his son flew away. Then Macduff's wife and son's murder. That is also because of the manipulation. He killed his family. Then Malcolm convincing Macduff for rebel against Macbeth. First, when Macduff didn't know that Macbeth killed his family. That time he tell that you are also same as Macbeth. I don't trust you that you will be a good king. But after finding out that he killed his family, Malcolm also tell him, also manipulates him by questioning his masculinity to take a rebel against Macbeth. So this is the conquistance of the manipulation. Lady Macbeth manipulates her husband Macbeth into committing a regicide and other heinous acts to fulfill their ambition for power. Their manipulations results in a tragic spiral of violence and madness, ultimately leading to their own downfall, murders. In this play, we can say that so many murders are happened, like King Duncan, Banquo, and Macduff's family. Then paranoia. Macbeth becomes increasingly paranoid and guilt-ridden. That he says that how I am going to wash this bloody hand. Then downfall. The hamartia of the play starts when they killed Macduff's family. So these are the themes explored in this play. In Macbeth, manipulation is tied to themes of ambition, power, guilt, fate, appearance versus reality, violence, and the balance between order and chaos. It emphasizes the tragic consequences of unchecked ambition, deceit, and the impact of manipulation on both individuals and society. So now I'm going to say about modern relevance, that how the Macbeth play is also related with a modern time. The theme of manipulation is Macbeth remains relevant in today's world, manifesting in political tactics, media influence, advertising strategies, interpersonal relationships, and online scams. Like most of the people, we know that there is so many influencer and advertisement that use us to be buy that product by saying their sweet quoted words. So that is also a manipulation. This was particularly evident in the 2016 United States presidential election. This is the best example for the manipulation, that how manipulation can turn the reality into something else. Shakespeare as a manipulator. Shakespeare manipulates readers through Macbeth by presenting him as a complex character using soliloquies to reveal inner turmoil, depicting his manipulation of relationships and descent into paranoia, highlighting his tragic flaws and prompting moral dilemmas. This manipulation of readers' emotion and perception makes Macbeth a compelling and multifaceted character. Sir also discussed in our lecture that that time movements where if someone commits suicide, then that person have to go to hell. They will not get the peace after, like moksha. We say in our Gujarati that they will not get that thing. So this is the conclusion. In the play Macbeth, manipulation plays as a significant role in the downfall of the characters. Lady Macbeth manipulates her husband to commit regicide, while the witches manipulate Macbeth with their prophecies. Ultimately, the consequences of their manipulations lead to tragedy and destruction. The conclusion of manipulation in Macbeth, highlighting the power it holds over individual and the devastating consequences it can have on their lives. So this is the reference. If anybody have questions, so please ask.
Who is the victim of paranoia in the play?
The victim of the paranoia in the play is Lady Macbeth and Macbeth also. We can see in that scene that where Macbeth sees the ghost of Banco. There is not it's not true that that can be a ghost, or we can say that it paranoia is a psychological condition that happens, that we hallucinate the things that is not even the real. So, and Lady Macbeth is also the victim of the paranoia. Like at the end of the play, she suicided because of she was guilty. She was walking in the sleep and saying that my hands are bloodied. I can't wash with water. Anybody else?
So, Jayashree, my question is in this play, Lady Macbeth is the victim of manipulation?
Yes, according to me, she is, because when Macbeth writes letter to Lady Macbeth about his ambition to be a king, if he never wrote that letter to her, then this play never happened. That she is also a victim of Lady Macbeth. And also for me, the death of Lady Macbeth is also a manipulation, because we know that Macbeth was too much hungry of power. That time Lady Macbeth started telling everyone about their secret. So you can say that she suicided because of the manipulation. Thank you.
We also have one question online, so reply in the chat. Reply in the chat.
Good afternoon to all. Today my presentation topic, the title of the play, The Rover by Aphra. This is my personal information. Aphra. Aphra was born 1614, Hurbaldown, Kent, England. Died April 16, 1689, London. Aphra was an English playwright, poet, and novelist who lived in the 17th century. Highly respected in her own lifetime, Behn is regarded today as an important voice in the areas of gender, sexuality, and traditional power structure. She is often considered to be the first woman to earn her living as a writer. Introduction. The Rover, in The Rover or the Behn's Cavaliers, comedy by Aphra Behn,
produced and published in two parts in 1677 and 1687. Set in Madrid and Naples during the exiles of England's King Charles II. The play depicts the adventures of small group of English cavaliers. The protagonist, the charming but irresponsible the Wilmore, may have been modeled on John Wilmot Roestes, a poet in the inner circle of Charles II. The hero's real life counterpart may also have been John Hoyley, who was a lover of the playwright. The title of the play, The Rover, published and produced in 1677, was Aphra's most successful play. The original full title, The Rover, is a Banished Cavaliers, indicates that the play was a tribute the formerly exiled the Cavaliers and newly reinstated King Charles II. The Rover is a dark comedy that mixes themes of prostitute and rape with a comic buffoonery. The rover of the title is the Wilmore, an exiled English sea captain on shore, live to enjoy the carnival or the Helena, a young woman hoping to experience life and love before being committed to a convent by her brother Don Pedro. Those two rovers, Wilmore and Helena, fall in love amid witty debates and sexual maneuvering. Wilmore has a many paralysis to Charles II, whose exploit during his 20-year banishment from England, where we very well know. Charles II enjoyed the play so much that he commissioned on a private viewing of it. Conclusion. The play culminates after much cross-dressing and trickery is typical in restoration comedies with a happy ending. Helena and Wilmore proclaim true love for one another while Florida and Belleville. This is my reference. Thank you. Anybody question?
So Krishna, I want to ask you that what is the character analysis of Wilmore from Aphra Behn's The Rover?
Wilmore is analysis of Aphra Behn's. Wilmore is in the play role in the Rover. Wilmore is a life of royalty, and he is a loyal Charles II during his English Civil War. Wilmore is a rover. It means that he was travel place to place a shipboard.
Krishna, what is the significance of the play's title, The Rover?
The significance of the play title, The Rover. The Rover full title is The Rover, or the Banished Cavaliers. This is indicates the
indicates the play tribute formally extended the newly restandard of the play. This play is this play is a mixed comedy of prostitute and rape with a comic buffoonery. Thank you.
Anybody can tell me why we ask you to go there and ask questions instead of sitting here? If you sit here and ask, then what's the problem? Why you should go there?
So, the person who is going to ask a question, he can focus on the camera.
In camera, okay, then
Other who are watching online, they can see who is
Who is going to ask the question?
okay, then still very important one is not coming. Where is your voice captured? When you speak, where is the mic? Which mic captures your voice? Which mic? No, laptop only. That is muted mic. No? That is muted. Mic is muted.
it's only one laptop.
Yeah, only. So you have to stand near there. So we ask you, if you come here in the center, then your voice is not captured. If you come here and stand, then you have to be as near the screen or that laptop and speak loudly, so that your voice is captured by that Sony Vibe. Otherwise, it will not be captured. Okay, next.
Respected Dilip sir and all the dear students, good afternoon, everyone. My name is KUSUM SARAVAIYA. In today's presentation, I'm going to deliver the presentation on the themes of metaphysical poetry. So here, table of contents, the points that we are going to discuss in this presentation. So first, we should know that what is metaphysical poetry. So metaphysical poetry, marked by the use of elaborative figurative language, original conceit, paradoxes, and philosophical topic. John Donne is the founder of metaphysical poetry. The word metaphysical was firstly used by Dr. Samuel Johnson in his book, The Lives of Most Eminent Poets of English. Mostly, all the poets of metaphysical poetry are belong to the 17th century, and these all poets are noted for their unnaturalness, which is not real, which is beyond something common. These are the metaphysical poets. These are only major poets of metaphysical poetry. As I say, John Donne is the foremost figure, along with George Herbert, Andrew Marvell, Abraham Cowley, Richard Grasham, and Henry Vaughan. Yes, this is the main topic. What is themes of metaphysical poetry? Topic of interest often includes love, religious, and morality. Every metaphysical poetry mainly focus on one theme. It can be love, it can be religious, it can be morality. Frequently, It employs unexpected similes and metaphor. We can see similes and metaphor in maybe all the metaphysical poetries. It is basically the quality of these kind of poetries. It is deeply religious, also ironical. Now we should focus on this topic, that how metaphysical poetry is different from other poetries, because it is deeply religious, and with this it can be ironical as well. Metaphysical poetry often includes conceit, conflict, and innuendo. These three things are the main, according to me, are the main thing which can make this kind of poetries different from the other poetries. Here are some examples of metaphysical poetry. The flea is the, as we heard the name, as we heard the term metaphysical poetry, the more very common example is the flea. This poetry is written by John Donne, and it was published in 1633. The Caller by George Herbert, The Retreat by Henry Vaughan, To His Coy Mistress by Andrew Marvell. This all the poetries, not only the title, but only or the text and the meaning of all this poetry, it is something beyond from the other poetries. Its themes, its words, and its things are make different from the common poetries. Yes, we should know that when we are discussing about metaphysical poetry, so we should know that who is father of metaphysical poetry. So as I say that John Donne is the main figure of this term. So here John Donne is the also considered as the father of metaphysical poetry. He was English poet and scholar, born in January 1576 in London and died in 1631 UK. The Sun Rising, yes, these are some poetries that are, we can say, masterpiece of John Donne. The Sun Rising, Valandic, Forbidding Morning, Holy Sonnet, That Death Be Not Proud. This Death Be Not Proud is a very wonderful poem where we can say that the John Donne is talking with the death, that how you are so poor, and we can connect this thing with a poem of Harindra Dave as well. There is a very wonderful line from his, that મોત તારી કારમી નિષ્ફળતા ઘડી ભર જોઈ લે કેટલા અહીંયા સ્મરણો મારા બિછાવી જાઉં છું. This same thing we can see in the poem of John Donne as well. So yes, with the text you can say it, die not poor death nor yet canst, it means cannot, thou kill me. It means death, you can kill everyone but you cannot kill me, because I'm alive, I am like mortal, I'm like immortal with my words, with my works like poetries and all things. And yes, let me conclude the presentation. Metaphysical poetry deals with various themes, as I say, like love, lust, spirituality, morality. With the help of paradoxes and conceit, it provokes the thoughts and reflection. This genre of poetry is influential for the literature. These kind of poetries are very not only in study, but when we are only reading it, we can easily say this, that yes, this kind of poetry is very like spiritual, or the kind of very different from the other poetries. These are some resources, and thank you very much. We can discuss the questions now.
So Kusum, what is the name of first metaphysical poetry by John Donne?
The first metaphysical poetry by John Donne is maybe the Good Morrow. It is written by John Donne, and in this poetry he described the two lovers, that his conversation and at all. So this, thank you, Jayesh.
Hello, Kusum. You mentioned the word consider. What is the meaning of the word in a metaphysical term?
The word conceit, it means in general we can say that conceit is like vanity, but when we are dealing with metaphysical poetry, then this meaning is slightly different. In terms of metaphysical poetry, conceit, it means the mingling of spiritual aspect and the physical aspect. So these two things are, as we can say, this metaphysical poetry includes paradoxes. So we can see this, that how these two paradox, we can see the in the term in the metaphysical poetry, that how spiritual thing and physical thing is totally different thing, but how these two things in one poetry, and this is the metaphysical poetry. Thank you, Krishna.
Sir, it's not accessing, so I'm doing with
Why
link.
is this coming that you want to see?
So I'm adding with link. I'm adding with the link, the add word link. Is it in like in?
Classroom, what is in the classroom?
So she gives in private comments, sir. So she gives in private comment. So now sir, visible, sir. I send it the link.
The presentation is not submitted.
Sir, she sent a link instead of upload the.
So right now I am submitting.
I know that let her do. Because tomorrow also they will be saying error.
Oh.
You do it yourself. Maya. Do it yourself. Otherwise, every day you will have the same problem.
Sir, now is visible, the PPT is visible there in classroom.
Yes, now you can open.
Okay.
Hello everyone, I am Maya Bhatia. I am the topic of the rover theme, Deceit and Disguise. The Rover by Aphra Behn. About the author. Born 14 December 1640. The Aphra Behn, death 16 April 1689. Aphra Behn, English playwriting, novelist and poet from England Restoration era. The Aphra Behn, little information is known about her early life. Aphra Behn, after her return to London, she started her writing. She wrote freely on the topic of woman's sensuality as shown through the disappointment. She is one of the most prolific dramatists of her time, second only to John Dryden. Verse of Aphra Behn plays second, the forced marriage published in 1617, the amorous prince or the curious husband 1617-1, the Dutch lover 1617-3, Abdazer 1617-6, the down from 1617-8, the rover 1617-7, the young king 1617-9. Characters of the rover: Wilmore, Helena, Angelica, Florida, Belleville, Don Pedro, Frederick, Ned Blunt, and Don Antonio. Themes of the rover: gender roles and female agency. Second, love, courtship, and marriage. Third, class and money. Fourth, deceit and disguise. About deceit and disguise, Aphra Behn's comedy plays The Rover is set during Carnival in Naples, Italy. Helena takes Carnival as an opportunity to flirt and love as she would never be able to as a proper Spanish lady, such as when Florida tests Belleville's loyalty while disguised. There are more pointed deceit as well, such as a Don Pantonio sending Belleville to duel in his clothes to protect honor. Helena dresses herself as a male past to meddle with Wilmore. Don Pedro fails to recognize his own sister in a mask with near tragic conclusions. While deceit may often be harmful, some measure of deceit may be necessary in order to help love flourish. Thank you. Cite by any question?
Yes, Maya, I want to ask you that what is the main, or I can say central theme of the rover?
The rover central theme of the men and women. Everybody?
Maya, what is the deceit and disguise in the rover?
The rover, one most of popular comedy, and the deceit and disguise are women, Florida, Helena, and Bulgaria. Thank you so much.
Time to somebody else. Your turn will come now. Not her time and then later.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am talk about the historical movement of Macbeth. This is the information about Macbeth. The author William Shakespeare. The genre was Shakespearean tragedy and set in Scotland in England. About this play, Macbeth is a tragedy by William Shakespeare. It is thought to have been first performed in 1606. It dramatizes the damaging physical and psychological effects of political ambition on those who seek power. Of all the plays that Shakespeare wrote during the reign of James I, Macbeth most clearly reflects his relationship with King James. Uh, this historical movement. Respected for his strong leadership qualities, Macbeth was a wise king who ruled successfully for 17 years. He lived in a fertile castle at Dunsinane, north of Perth. His rule was secure enough for him to go on a pilgrimage to Rome in 1015. Timeline of Scottish history. 1997 to 1005, Kenneth Bing's reign is King Elba, and at the end of the first millennium in 1005, Macbeth was born. One Macbeth was born. 1005 to 134, Kenneth murdered Macbeth's father is murdered by Malcolm. Malcolm was succeeded by Duncan I. The Duncan I of Shakespeare's Macbeth. Uh, in in 10,031, the Macbeth was a king of Scotland. 1039 to 1050. Margaret, who is to become Scottish of Scotland's first feminist saint, Macbeth goes on pilgrimage to Rome along with the Dauphin Earl of Orkney. In 2000, in 1054 to 1070, Macbeth is finally killed a battle at Lumfen in Aberdeenshire by Duncan's son Malcolm. Meanwhile, around the world, in that time, 1020, the Shetlands, Orkney, and Furious recognized Olaf Hardson and their king. In 1027, Omar Khayyam, Persian scientist and poet, writer of the Rubaiyat, is born. In 1035, King Canute divided his kingdom between his three sons, giving England to Harold. In 1016, King Canute takes the throne of England. In 1041, the Lombards and the Normans defeat the Greek at the Battle of Montemain. In 1044, one of Spain's nation heroes is born. 1050, the Estrobel arrives Europe from the east. In 1053, the Normans conquer southern Italy and found an empire there. In 1045, there is no pope during this year, and there is a permanent shame between the Roman and Eastern churches. In 1066, William of Normandy invades the contiguous England, taking the throne from King Harold, who is killed at the Battle of Hastings. In 1017, the Order of St. John's is founded in Jerusalem. Thank you. Question.
Shivangi, I want to ask you that how Macbeth related to his
History of
Scotland in cultural activities.
Shanti, what are some historical facts about Macbeth?
The facts about Macbeth is
This is spelling KUSUM. Be careful in typing because this is seen by everybody when it goes on YouTube. Live stream. People will make fun that master students are not able to write simple spellings correctly.
Good afternoon, everyone. I will tell about the Lady Macbeth feminist reading. First, introduction. Macbeth is a tragedy by William Shakespeare. It is thought to have been first performed in 1606. Major character Lady Macbeth was Macbeth's wife and later Queen of Scotland. Let's discuss the feminist reading of the Lady Macbeth. First, feminist meaning. A feminist is someone who support equal right for women. If your brother objects strongly to women being paid less than men for doing the same job, he is probably a feminist. If you believe that women should have the same political, social, and economic rights as men, you are a feminist. Lady Macbeth, feminist. Lady Macbeth is one of these violence define gender roles, but this violence also uphold traditional patriarchal modes of power. Lady Macbeth used violence that streams for her feminine access to advice of patronage and her position within Scotland. Lady Macbeth's support to advance her husband's position within Scotland is clear from her entrance into the play. She specifically states that Lady Macbeth presents herself as the imaging of himself he seeks, and that Shakespeare does this in order to put pressures on masculinist and violence relations that depend on woman object confirmations, their unremitting self perpetuations. Lady Macbeth desire to disown the weaker aspect of her body, mimics the rhetorical violence upon herself to be able to aid Macbeth with a purely. He needs to able to act Macbeth with the purely. Purely, he needs to achieve his goal. In this speech, Lady Macbeth tries to disown any aspect of her excessively and leaky feminine body as it is not conducive to violence. This hypothetical violence is used primarily to demonstrate the length that she will go to in order to inspire her husband. She would even imagine
the violence that is a sin and inimaginable for woman in order to remind of his purpose. Conclusion: as a Lady Macbeth utilized the rhetorical violence to push Macbeth to regicides, she relies on a inherently masculine from the going to power to advance her husband's positions. As women in position to power become more prevalent, the questions remain of who exactly these women are helping and whether their leadership roles really challenge and any of the particularly system of power that remain in place. If you anyone question.
So, Vishwa, how is feminism used in Macbeth?
Lady Macbeth is being to break the feminine feminine to woman by attempting convince and Macbeth to kill the king and challenging challenging manhood challenging manhood if she were also played.
Vishwa, what is the feminist approach to Lady Macbeth?
Madness again confined her to the feminine helplessness. Thank you.
Hello, very good afternoon, all of you. Myself, HEMALI PARMAR. My topic is the weight of guilt in Shakespeare's Macbeth. Here is my personal information. Points to ponder. Introduction to Macbeth. Guilt as a motivator. Effect of guilt. Lady Macbeth's guilt. Conclusion. Introduction to Macbeth. Macbeth is one of Shakespeare's fastest and most straightforward tragedies in its portrayal of the rise and fall of Macbeth. Three witches tell the Scottish general Macbeth that he will be king of Scotland. Encouraged by wife, Macbeth kills the king, becomes the new king, and kills more people out of paranoia. Civil war erupts to overthrow Macbeth, resulting in more death. Guilt as a motivator. Macbeth and Lady Macbeth commit murder to fulfill a prophecy. Macbeth is overwhelmed with guilt and panic after the evil deeds. His guilt softens his character, making him somewhat sympathetic to the audience despite his actions. Effect of guilt. Guilt in Macbeth hunts Macbeth through Banquo's ghost and troubled conscience. Lady Macbeth's guilt causes sleepwalking and visions of blood. These hunting experiences highlight the play's focus on moral conflict and its effect on the characters. Lady Macbeth's guilt. Lady Macbeth's guilt is vividly shown in Macbeth. After Duncan's murder, she is shocked by the blood, representing her unexpected guilt. You can see it in picture. This symbolized the moral turmoil she didn't anticipate, making her character deeply conflicted. The theme of guilt in Macbeth reveals how ambition can lead to moral decay. The character's action, driven by guilt, result in mental torment and downfall. Shakespeare's play serves as a cautionary tale, highlighting the heavy burden of guilt and its consequences on human behavior and fate. Here are references. Thank you. If anyone wants to ask question, feel free to ask.
Himali, did any character in Macbeth overcome their guilt?
No, there is no any character in Macbeth who overcomes their guilt. In fact, guilt consumes that characters. If anybody else.
Yes, now. Now you can ask. Huh?
Her name is Shivangi.
HEMALI.
So, Himali, why is guilt such a strong emotion in Macbeth?
Guilt is such a strong emotion in Macbeth because of its characters' moral dilemmas. Yeah, they are also between struggle between right and wrong, so that it is the main theme of Shakespeare's Macbeth. Thank you.
So that was the last one for today.
Sir, I can stop the screen. No.
No, the StreamYard, let it be on. Okay, so very quick feedback to the thing so that tomorrow you can improve on this. So many of you need to improve a lot. Many in this are there who are still not able to speak or answer properly or asking questions or any other things also, not only about the technical things, but content wise, speaking wise also, you have to work hard and you have to do rehearsals of whatever you are preparing. Do a rehearsal so that your performance can be better when you come for the presentations. ASHA presented, and many of you are citing study material sites. That should be avoided. Study material sites should not be cited. It should not be referred, like lead charts or other things. For example, in this ASHA's presentation, there was this reference to a lead chart. Now, in case, for example, if you are citing, I'm sharing this screen, you can see on the screen. If you are citing this image, infographic, which is prepared by this particular site, then it is okay if you cite. But this was not cited. You used for general information, which is for passing exams, the other material. So that should be avoided unless there is something very specific or unique which you find. This is very unique infographic. Only if you are trying to refer this and talk on this, and if you have cited, it is okay. But for simple summary, theme, or character, it should not be cited. You must be referring to original text for all those references. Divya also had some of the things on study material site presented on metaphysical poetry. Okay. Jatin presented on Macbeth on screen. Slides were very well prepared in the presentation. Good, well organized slides were there, which also others might be observing that if your slides are not good, you can see who is making better slide organization, and that you can try in the next presentation. You referred to many of the sites from IMDb. So when you are citing films, you have to cite with a director, and this. So you get information about films from their posters or official websites or official documents of the film. From there you have to take. IMDb is keeping a record of films. For that general information, you should not cite IMDb site. But in case, for example, they are giving ratings, reviews, critic reviews are given. If you are citing reviews or ratings, then IMDb can be cited. Otherwise not. For general information of the film, who is director, and that for that you have to cite the film's material. Posters are the material from where we get those information. And also when you stand there, you have to be properly, you have to stand. That also your body language, that also you have to take care of that, what way you are reflecting your body language. So presentation is all about your body language, your voice modulation, everything is very important. So how you improve your body posture, that also is very important to be seen when you make your presentation. Jai Solanki had a good topic, good title also was given, Elysian Embrace. And that this word is ecstasy. Many of you were mispronouncing the word ecstasy. So such words, speak 100 times so that your tongue gets practice to speak that word. Any words, even Maya had problem in many of the words, in pronouncing the word. So practice it, speak 100 times, 200 times. So you get, your tongue gets practice to speak. Even the word like characters, when you read characters. So CH is not ch, but maybe you have never spoken the word. So that is happening, or simple such words. But speak it, do rehearsal of your PPT 2-3 times, read it aloud, record your own voice in your mobile phone, and then listen and see how you are speaking. That is the best way to improve this. Jai Solanki has also cited gesture articles. That also is good. to refer and to cite from that. But in-text citations were not given. So your marks might have been cut down in that. Jai Murania on Rover. Have you replied online question? Then you have to reply that. તો એકવાર કહ્યું હોય તો પાછું મુહૂર્ત જોવાનું ના હોય કે another student also who was another, have you replied? So એ પાછું અલગથી કહેવાનું હોય. લાઈવ સ્ટ્રીમિંગ થતું હોય ત્યાં થાય કે એમએ ના વિદ્યાર્થી છે કે કેજી ના છે. કેજી ના હોય તો એક વખતમાં ન માને અથવા એને ખબર ના પડે કે એકવાર કીધું તો શું કરવાનું. પીજી માં તો સમજદાર કોઈ સારા કાફી, પછી ક્યારેય ન કહેવું પડે આખી જિંદગી. તમે 60 વર્ષના થાવ, હું 110 વર્ષનો થયો હોય, જીવતો હોઉં કદાચ, અને ક્યાંક ભેગા થાય તોય મારે કેવું ના પડે કે આ વાત પછી રિપીટ હવે કરવી પડે તો એ યોગ્ય ન લાગે. ધેટ ઇઝ ધ માસ્ટર સ્ટુડન્ટ્સ. એક એવું ડિગ્નિટી આપણે હવે આપણે હવે યુજી ના વિદ્યાર્થી નથી, એટલે બધી બાબતોમાં આપણે ડિગ્નિટી હવે આવી જોઈએ કે આપણને એક વખત કે એટલે કામ થઈ જ જવું જોઈએ. અપેક્ષા કરતા સારી રીતે જ એ કામ થવું જોઈએ. Okay, so that you have to answer. So that was a good question. Contemporary times, how do you think of that? If you are not able to do that, your reading is incomplete. Whatever you read, but what is the relevance of that in contemporary times is very, very important. I think if you are not able to connect, then our reading, our presentation, our study, our masters, everything is useless. There is no purpose of that if we can't see our world or connect with our world. You also cited this Study Smart, that is the study material site. JAYSHRI had also a good topic. You also had cited from this source. Such websites, EduBride, there are many such websites. They prepare ready-made essays for students, normally high school students. These are not for masters. High school students, masters na to આવા લખે પોતાની જાતે. એ આ હાઈ સ્કૂલ માટે લખેલા હોય એનો ઉપયોગ ન કરે. માસ્ટર્સ ના વિદ્યાર્થી જે હાઈ સ્કૂલ ના વિદ્યાર્થી માટે લખેલું હોય એનો ઉપયોગ એના પ્રેઝન્ટેશનમાં ન કરે. તો તમે બનાવો એનો ઉપયોગ બીજા કરે. એમ હોવું જોઈએ. So that's why we tell that you should start learning to see કે આ રિસોર્સ માસ્ટર્સ ના વિદ્યાર્થી વાપરી શકે કે નહીં. That you have to now understand. So that was this one that you have referred, which you should avoid doing that. And there was a good question about Lady Macbeth is manipulated or not. So that was not properly answered in this. In your presentation also it was not there. And this also, that how is Lady Macbeth? That is a very interesting question to see. That Lady Macbeth is manipulating Macbeth, but how is she manipulated? By whom? In what capacity? There was one good slide on the presentation that was about US elections. That in US elections, how through social media, the voters' sentiments are manipulated. That was a good reference. But it is a good point that something about what happened in last elections in US was given. But we have to also think about our elections. We are not living in America. We are living in India. So what is happening in India? That is the connection with our time and our reality. If that doesn't happen, our education is big zero. If you're not able to see our realities, then our education is a big zero only. So that way you have to connect. Krishna also need to improve still a lot. Okay? You also cited some college material. KUSUM connected well with one Gujarati poem. I think Arendra Dave's lines you have done. That is a good idea. If you can find some regional literature which can be compared with what you are studying, then make your PPT on that comparison only. That is a better way. So you are going beyond your syllabus. You have to go beyond your syllabus and see and do the thing, not only what is within the syllabus. Talking only about themes, only about characters, only about the things there is okay. As a beginner, if you have never made presentations, if you begin in that manner, it is good. But if you want to do something good, connect your syllabus things with something outside, with other literatures, what you have studied at UG level or regional literature. If you are reading, connect and compare. That will be a better way to do the things. You also cited English summary. That should be avoided. Maya was talking about this. You referred to course hero, this material site. Again, the same thing with the literature review. And you need to do lots of rehearsal before coming so that you can improve your things. Shivangee's slide had the basic error, some basic elementary kind of a thing which we have to see that it is never repeated. Like you're talking about Macbeth and the time of Macbeth, that is 11th century. And you are showing the picture of 21st century buildings. What is the connection? Now it is completely disconnected idea that you are. So in selecting the theme of your PPT, you have to be very careful. લોકો લિટરેચરના વિદ્યાર્થીને પૂછે કે આ મારી થીમ બરાબર છે કે નહીં. આ જોઈ તો ભાગી જાય કે આને તો પૂછવાનું જ નહીં. આ MA ના વિદ્યાર્થી ભાવનગર યુનિવર્સિટીમાં ભણતા હોય એને તો કઈ ખબર જ નથી પડતી કે કારણ કે થીમ ને તો આપણે શીખતા હોય કે આ બધા કલરનું અને એનો થીમેટિક રિલેવન્સ શું છે. We are the best people to see that. And if we make such error, then how will we justify to people that how our students are learning something good in this? So be careful when you take a theme, how it has to be relevant with what is your content of presentation. Okay, last two, where by Vishwa and HEMALI. Okay. But still, both of you also need to work and prepare a good content also on this. Okay, so with this, we end our discussion. I have posted a message in the WhatsApp that you read, and I hope you will understand what is said. એ પાછી ચિંતા થાય કે આ બધું સમજાશે કે નહીં. અંગ્રેજીમાં લખીને મોકલ્યું હોય એ પાછું કેટલું સમજાશે અને કેટલું ઉપરથી ચાલ્યું જશે. એ પાછી મોટી ચિંતા થાય કે people will understand or not. So you have to, like most of you have to see that you all students must edit a profile picture in Google account, YouTube, which we have told you when we begin our semester. But most of you were remaining absent also. We are not very regular. So you might be absent when these instructions were given. So today you are present. આજે તમે બધા હાજર છો. સ્પષ્ટ ગુજરાતીમાં હું કહું એટલે બરાબર કાન અંદર ઉતરે, નહીતર પાછું અંગ્રેજીનું ઉપરથી ચાલ્યું જાય કે આ વાત આપણે અનેક વખત કરી છે. તમને વર્કશોપ કર્યો તો આપણે ICT નો, ત્યારે પણ મોટે ભાગે એબસન્ટ રહ્યા હતા. એટલે એ વાત તમારા સુધી પહોંચી જ નથી. આખું સત્ર પૂરું થયું તો પણ કે તમારા પ્રોફાઇલ પિક્ચર્સ જે રાખો એ આધાર કાર્ડ કે આઈડેન્ટિટી કાર્ડમાં હોય એ રીતે એ હોવું જોઈએ. So we have profile picture in Google account, YouTube that exemplifies the dignity and professionalism befitting students pursuing masters in arts, and that also in English literature. And a befitting લાગવું જોઈએ કે આ વિદ્યાર્થી છે એ આમ ચાલે તો એ ખ્યાલ આવે કે આ માસ્ટર્સનો વિદ્યાર્થી છે, ઇંગ્લિશ લિટરેચરમાં માસ્ટર્સ કરે છે. એ એમાંથી છલકાવવું જોઈએ આપણી બોડી લેંગ્વેજમાંથી પણ કે this is the student of this. And signify that you have progressed beyond the realm of undergraduate. Now you are not UG student. એટલે UG નું બધું મૂકી દો હવે પડતું. એની સ્ટાઇલ, એની ચાલવાની, લઢણો, બોલવાની રીત ભાતો, એ પ્રકારના પ્રોફાઇલ પિક્ચરો, એ બધા જે સ્ટાઇલ આપણે BA માં કરતા એ ભૂલી જાઓ. હવે આપણે BA માં નથી, હવે MA માં છે. એટલે એ બધી સ્ટાઇલ પડતી મૂકો અને થોડું પ્રોફેશનલિઝમ માસ્ટર્સના વિદ્યાર્થીને અનુરૂપ લાગે. એટલે એ રીતે હવે તમે લગભગ આસિસ્ટન્ટ પ્રોફેસર થઈ ગયા છો. એટલે તમે કલ્પના કરો કે આવા સ્ટાઇલના ફોટા પ્રોફેસરોના હોય તો કેવું લાગે. એમ વિચારતા થાવ કે તમે પિક્ચર છે એ પ્રોફેસરનો જ છે. તો હાઉ વિલ ઇટ લુક? ધેટ વે યુ સ્ટાર્ટ ડુઈંગ ધેટ. So grow and display maturity in your digital avatar also. You have to grow now. હવે આપણે મોટા થવાનું છે અને આપણે મેચ્યુરિટી ડિસ્પ્લે અને એ આપણે ડિજિટલ અવતારમાં પણ થવી જોઈએ. That should be there. So I hope tomorrow we will see that things have improved or not. Otherwise, individually we will pinpoint. We don't want to pinpoint individually. વ્યક્તિગત એક એક નામ પકડીને કહે કે આમ ન ચાલે એમ ન કરવું પડે અથવા મને તમે એ કરવા તરફ નહીં લઈ જાઓ. સમજદારી બતાવશો અને સમજી જાશો કે what way you have to do the things there. Okay, we end our session. કદાચ કઈ ન સમજાણું હોય તો આ વિડિયો રેકોર્ડ થયેલો છે, પાછો જોઈ લેજો. કદાચ હજી એમ થાય કે શું વાતો થઈ, કઈ બહુ ખબર ન પડી તો પાછો જોઈ લેવામાં વાંધો નહીં. આ રેકોર્ડિંગ અવેલેબલ હશે એટલે you can watch it again also. Okay, we end our session here.